All right. Welcome back, everybody. It is 2023, and we are on episode, I don't actually know, so I'm going to say 68? 69?
Nice.
Oh, well, that was off. But anyway, we are back with a new year. We don't necessarily have a topic today, so we'll see where it takes us. But we're going to touch on some new projects, some things we're working on around here. If people didn't see, yesterday we posted Mr. Steve's new orange cruise hatch.
It's very orange.
It is very orange, but it's a pretty cool orange.
It's a very cool orange.
It's better than the cobalt orange, which has always been one of my least favorite.
Yeah, Steve upgraded from his Camaro SS
Right, yeah. I got
to a
bored with it.
cruise.
Going fast got boring, so.
He might have went down by a couple of hearse purs, but
I very much so enjoy the car, though. It's
Yeah.
very different being able to drive to work in a quiet, not shaking car. It's pretty nice.
And
And
be able to
gas once a week.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
be able to drive
every other
by
week.
drive by a gas station every once in a while.
Yeah.
That too.
and get stuff in the back seats, which the only people who could fit in the back seat of a Camaro are ones without legs. So
Yes.
that's handy too. But yeah, so to catch anybody up who's listening and who hasn't known or kept up on it, the Sonic, while that kept the same LUV LUJ 1.4 through its entire production run, the Cruise in 2016.5, oddly, switched to a 1.4 DI engine, codenamed LE2. So Tim's tuned a few in the past, and we finally got a pair of them here in the shop, and we're rolling on R&D already. So that's exciting. Redline Stealth, that's waiting on this guy a little bit. we don't have enough time, but it's still on the list.
It's on the list. It's just not. There's a lot of things that are way more important right now.
Yeah. Transmounts for F-23, you know, that's something that I've always thought we should do, but we don't have any F-23 cars here, and it's not a mainstream swap. You know, it's something that we don't offer, but, you know, maybe we can make it happen eventually. But what are you guys looking forward to in 23? Parts, cars, things we're working on?
I'm still coping with the fact that it's 23.
Yeah. Yep.
It hasn't sunk in yet.
Yeah. It's another year.
I don't know if I agree with you. Mess it up, Matt. The LE2 tune's similar to the LUJ LUV. I don't necessarily think it's a big upgrade. It definitely does not seem to have a turbo that's as bad as the old school LUJ LUVs. So I don't know. We'll see. I'm pretty excited to put a realistic size turbo on Steve's car, or our shop car, whichever one, and see how it goes. I'm also really curious to get a back pressure sensor on the stock turbo.
See where the stock one's at. Where
you
does
know,
it spool at? As soon as it can?
Yeah.
Instantly.
Yeah, I honestly haven't had anybody like do a spool test. I could easily do that. I mean, I tune probably one a week at least.
Oh, wow.
A new one.
Okay.
So I mean, I'm tuning plenty of them.
Yeah, I'm interested to see how this engine pans out.
Jesse, I'm sorry, you were the next guy. Like, like seriously, I was working on the last guy's tune and I didn't quite get it done. And then you were the next email. So I will do that today, actually, as soon as I get out of this podcast. I got to get caught up for the weekend because I don't like to leave people hanging on the weekends.
Ryan Blaha, our Kappa short shifter kit is actually on the site. So go to Kappa and transmission, and it is the first thing. So there's a new part you can buy.
Yeah. And it's almost too short, so that's pretty cool. Like I've definitely had a few 2 to 5 shifts on the race course with my Kappa.
Yeah.
I never made any missed shifts the other way. I always like skipped a gear for whatever reason.
Scott, new downpipes are coming for the 1.4s. We are revising them currently, so don't have a time frame, but
We are actively working on that
Yeah.
right now. Like, it should be pretty soon.
Yep. Captain Slow asks, Steve, what trans is in
It
your...
is an auto. I was originally trying to find a white manual trans with most of the options, and that was kind of a unicorn. I looked for months and months, and I was like, just give me a white or a black stick shift hatch with some options.
And that still was months and months.
Yeah, finally gave up. I stumbled across the orange one and was, I don't know, I just kind of instantly fell in love with the color, and it happened to be an auto, but it was a Premier, so it had like every option that car came with.
Yeah, it's
And-
pretty slick on the inside.
Yeah.
It's like
After I
a
went
nice
and,
car.
Drove it, I was like, you know what? I don't need a clutch that bad. I have other toys with a clutch, so auto it is for now.
And the good news is the second gen retains the M32, so clutch kits should fit. And,
Oh, really?
Yep,
Also did not realize.
according to the internets. So, but even in general, not even just a hatch, there's definitely less manuals in the second gen than there was in the first gen.
for sure.
So, we'll
Maybe GM finally made a trans stronger than it's supposed to be.
maybe. I don't know.
Like
I
1 in 1,000 chance.
I was curious because
Don't
when
hold
I
your breath.
saw it was the M32, I went and tried to find some cruise manual reviews from when it came out, and Motor Trend did one and Road and Track did one, and they basically all came to the same conclusion that the auto is better, that the gearing in the second gen cruise was horrible. So, other than the whole being able to row your own gears, I don't know. But on the LE2, like Al said, it'll be interesting to see where this engine takes us. When we started, like we talked about last time with the first Gen 1.4s, we never thought they'd make power. And now we are making 600 wheel.
Yeah, and
But-
when I first looked at the LE2, it was like, oh, well, that's not going to be anything close to the Gen 1. It's a little aluminum block and main caps, and doesn't look as strong at all. And I think it was Tim pointed out, like, well, it doesn't have to hold 600. I'm like, well, okay.
Yeah. Yeah,
Like,
most
it's definitely not going to be as structurally strong as the Gen 1, but it very well could
Hey,
be good enough for 350, somewhere around there. I mean, we'll find out.
Yeah. The aluminum, the LE2 comes with its own problems from what I've seen. We're increasingly aware of the piston issues that some of the early years had, but GM revised that. So, we're running on down the line. I've already got coilovers lined up for them.
I mean, GM's been dealing with piston issues in multiple platforms for years.
Yeah.
The 13 ATS. I mean, I don't know if there are any 13 ATSs out there
That
on their
haven't
original engines
blown up.
anymore. Even the LUJ LUV early 1.4s, I mean, those blow up a lot too. I mean, our own, financing person blew hers up just driving around, like driving it to work every day. So, I mean, it happens.
Yeah.
It's I think it's GM just got cheap and, I don't know, made some mistakes on PCV stuff, and made some mistakes maybe on piston strength stuff, and but that's what we're here for. We'll figure it out. Our tune is probably more conservative than stock. I mean, I don't want to say conservative, but it definitely fixes broken GM tuning ideas they have. And then that allows us to turn it up and not make it any more risky to hurt the engine. And also, like, I think we're beating a dead horse here, but like, you have to run premium in a boosted car. I don't give a crap what the dealership told you can run in them. You have to run premium in these boosted, vehicles.
Except for that one low compression engine we tested. You could run 87 in that, but you're not going anywhere in a hurry.
What was that? I don't remember
It was
that.
in the gray car.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We did that one-off low compression 1.4.
Because I wanted to see if
It
we could
did
get more
nothing
timing
good.
out of it and gain power, and all it did was lose power.
Yeah.
All it did.
You could run it on piss though. I mean,
Yeah.
You could pee in the tank and it wouldn't knock.
Uh,
They were 8.8 to 1 is what they were.
it was, that
That's-
motor was a dog.
Yeah, it was bad.
Tim,
I was tuning Dakota's new Sonic today, and I actually got kind of a lot of timing out of that thing.
like 3 or 4 degrees?
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, I was surprised. Like it's a pretty good runner. It didn't feel like abnormally fast to me, but the tune went really well, and I was able to get like semi-aggressive with it.
Nice.
So that was kind of nice.
Was there any changes? I noticed he's got the facelift Sonic.
Yep.
Were there any changes to the car other than cosmetically, or?
They did, besides it looking better on the outside, everything else is a downgrade. The RS is kind of a sticker package.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it's got those baller headlights. And
Yeah.
the taillights, I don't know, they're kind of a lateral move.
they're all right.
They're different.
The other stuff's easy to fix.
But yeah, the RS doesn't have like anything really fancy. It's still got the seats, I guess, but like the gauge clusters are all the same in the Gen
Okay.
2s.
Yeah, and the RSs didn't even get rear discs on the
Really?
facelifts. Yep.
Oh,
They
that's
stopped
sad.
doing rear discs in 16 or 17, something like
The
that.
seats are electric. Driver's seat was electric. I was like,
Ooh.
oh,
Fancy.
that's neat.
Really fancy.
Yeah. That's a big
I
upgrade.
switched from my cruise to our shop cruise earlier today, and I keep hitting the dash looking for the button because the shop cruise is kind of a lower model one, so
Yeah.
it's got like a regular key.
Oh,
I
yeah.
went to
Oh,
move
yeah.
the seat. Alex drove last, so I had to move the seat forward a little bit, and like, where the hell's the button at on the side? No, I got to do it
Nope.
manually.
Poverty model.
Poverty seats.
Yep.
It's just pretty cool seeing a lot of people around the shop start kind of gravitating towards this platform.
Well, yeah, how many was it you added up the other day?
16 between employees and ZZP shop cars. We have 16 1.4 vehicles here.
Wow.
Well, 15 plus Chris's
Yeah.
1.8.
That's well. Is Dean's a 1.4 or 1.8?
Yeah.
It's
Okay.
RS. It's
Yeah,
a
1.4
no,
Eco.
it's an Eco. Yeah.
Dang.
Yep,
That's
1.4
a lot
Eco.
of 1.4s.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
I
can
saw
definitely.
a bunch in the parking lot. I'm like, man, there's like 6 or 7 out there. And then I started counting. I'm like, holy crap, there's 16.
Yeah, you can definitely tell the favorite platform vehicle right now.
They're
and
a
it is
very
that.
versatile car.
Yeah.
I was telling our mechanic Ryan was like, I'm kind of looking at a Cobalt, and I'm like, I kind of have a little bit of 2 cents on this if you want. And he's like, yeah, what is it? And I was like, well, if you want to go fast car, like the 2-liter is the only way to go.
Yeah.
2-liter Cobalt the power is ridiculous. However, the car is a little rinky. The door
It's
panels.
dated.
I don't
an
mean
old car.
dated. It's not very well engineered.
No, even when they came out, like they were dated when they were released.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is kind of how it
Like the door panels are all floppy, so you can't like use it very easily on a lot of cars that come in. The Sonic is a far better chassis.
Yeah.
I think the suspension is an improvement. I think the interior is a pretty big appearance upgrade and structural upgrade.
Oh, for sure.
But like I said, I mean, I'm a fan of both because I have multiple of both. Like
not
the
that
Cobalts are way faster.
Not that it matters for Ryan, but if you're a larger individual such as I, the Sonic, believe it or not, is actually more comfortable to drive. They're more comfortable seating position. They're more leg room. There's
Oh,
less,
yeah, for
less
sure.
back seat room, but
Yeah.
very comfortable to drive.
Scott, if you look at our Instagram, we actually have a Cutaway Head that Al's been working on, some different cam timing and all that. And so last year on the drag car, or up until this point, we were just using a stock head, our Stage 1 cam package. And so now that we have a turbo that's much too large for it and doesn't have any back pressure, we're going to do some ported head testing, some upgraded cam testing. So we're going to keep working on that.
Best 1.4 for max power. Well, still the first one.
Yeah.
So far, I mean,
yeah,
that we
so
know
far.
of.
we know. Tim, do the LE2s seem to ride the knock limit with timing too, or are they a little better?
They're a little better.
Okay.
I can get a little more aggressive with the turbo. I can get a little more aggressive with the timing and fueling. I'm definitely very curious to spend some time with Steve's on the dyno playing with stuff.
Yeah, the being a turbo or header fold, I would assume has something to do with it. Obviously, the first gen 1.4 was shifted all the way to one side, so your cylinders 1 and 2 had a lot farther to go than all the rest. So, and we had somebody ask yesterday about 1.5 parts, and the 1.4, the DI 1.4 and the 1.5 are the identical engine except for the stroke is different. So some people might be able to use some 1.5 part or 1.4 parts for the 1.5.
Wonder if that crank is interchangeable.
I think they all share the same crank, and they just have different. No, that
Not
would
if
make
they
sense.
got different strokes.
Yeah. Never mind.
Yes, Tyler, they just put a shorter rod in there.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
Big
That's
dumb.
some Scott stuff.
Big dumb.
I did see a comment that's gone now, mentioning the LE2 being DI and potentially being a hurdle to overcome. We've played with DI stuff since it was brand new. We've got that pretty well figured out. I'm confident that it's not going to be a problem.
Yeah.
Like, super confident it'll be a non-issue.
If we need to, we'll do a bigger cam lobe, and from some information we've seen, the injectors are pretty capable.
Yeah, they seem to be reasonably capable.
So
I did get a test engine, actually, was that yesterday that showed up?
yeah, what
Yeah.
a deal! Friggin'
Yeah.
$400 for a running long block.
I don't even know how, like, just stumbled across those $400 for a complete LE2. I'm like, yeah, get that here. Let's get it on a stand.
Did we get? Is it already here?
It's here, yeah.
Cool.
I'm going to put it on a stand this weekend and
Nice.
have it ready to be taken apart.
The old 1.4 is a semi-closed deck, kind of like the Gen 3 Ecotech blocks.
Mm-hmm.
But the whole thing's iron. It's very strong.
Very strong.
It's got a lot of beef in the sleeve area.
Which is surprising with how
I know.
tiny those pistons are.
Grateful
and-
for it and what it's
Yeah.
allowed us to do, but why did you do that? I'm not getting a Grand Prix again. One was enough.
Is that our Matt? I think
I'm-
so.
I think so.
It
I'm
must
guessing.
be,
Yeah.
judging by the comment. That was the Grand Prix Club back in the days, like all the, or not the Grand Prix Club, but the, you know what I'm saying, whatever. That was like the thing back in the late 90s, early 2000s. Every like huge, big, tall, giant dude had a Grand Prix.
They're comfortable.
I
Yep.
can't even touch the pedals with the seat all the way back in one of those cars.
Yeah, I doubt I'd
like
be able to.
full stretch out. I can't even touch the gas pedal.
Who is that guy with the NA Grand Prix? Scott Wolf or whoever that NA Grand Prix GT like
The red one?
6'6", yeah.
Mike Wolf.
Mike Wolf, yeah.
Yeah, big
man,
want to race on the back window.
man, that dude was big. Yeah, the big dudes do have Grand Prix GTs.
They are comfy cars to drive. But let's see. Yeah, Soroto, you're just gonna want to do the email me a file and then purchase HP tuners and 2 credits, and then we can certainly remote tune you.
Yeah.
Yeah, what are some
ZZP
goals?
Floor mats. That wouldn't be a bad idea.
What about
Somebody mentioned that recently.
I do really love that idea because I love WeatherTech floor mats. Man, I love those
They're,
things.
they're a
Most
must
people
have.
buy floor mats anyways. Like, why wouldn't you buy one from
Hey.
your favorite company?
yeah.
Trevor.
Yeah.
Trevor, get busy. You're not up here
Plastic
today.
print some.
Oh, there we go. Matt asks progress on the all-wheel drive Sonic.
It's
I
right
knew
in
that was
line
coming.
with the stealth heat exchanger.
Yeah, I
for the
love that
red line.
question. Weekly.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have a lot of engineers and still too many engineer projects. Like,
And it's
It's-
you know, realistically, it's not a product that we would ever
No,
sell.
that's
you know,
that's
it's
a very low on the list thing.
it's a we want to do it because it would be cool
yeah,
kind of thing.
yeah, we really have to spend our time engineering the parts that are going to sell the most.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. Making one of the Sonics all-wheel drive isn't gonna all of a sudden roll in some insane amounts of cash. So the R&D kind of needs to be put to things that make sense.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We're,
and like
we're pretty well past capacity
Oh,
on most of our manufacturing
constantly.
and engineering side of everything. Like, we're just we're out of time, out of people.
Yeah, at this time, I mean, we have Steve's new crews on the lift, and it's just getting the whole gambit, like
Yeah.
downpipe, mid pipe,
Exhaust.
catback exhaust. Like we have a spare turbo on the bench that we're, looking at and figuring out what we're gonna do. We're an intake is mocked up in an R&D process on one of our cars right now. Like that's definitely the car that we have to, we're gonna have to make all the motor mounts. The motor mounts, the tranny mounts, like we got to get all that stuff done, and then we can
Yep.
move on to the next thing. But yeah, that'll be the next car that you see a lot of new products showing up on the website for.
Yeah, I'm glad that we've hit the ball running with it, and just like anything around here, when we get excited about making stuff, then that's when it really happens.
Yeah.
And we're all pretty pumped about these.
Did you say hit the ball running?
Yeah, he did.
My brain doesn't work today.
I guess
Anyway.
it kind of works, I guess. Go for
Yeah.
Is that not? Is that not how you say that, Ale?
Hit the ground running?
Nope. Nope. It's definitely hit the ball.
Did you know?
No,
did you
it's-
ever see Mythbusters did the hit the ground running test?
No, I've
And
not seen
every
that.
way they could think of testing it, it was worse. They tried like putting the car on jack stands and revving the shit out of it and dropping it on the ground. And they tried swinging from a zip line and hitting the ground running, and they would just eat their face into the dirt. Yeah, good show.
I'm gonna have to watch that.
Frank, we really don't know what sort of numbers we should expect. Obviously, the engine makes more power per GM in factory form, and if the tuning is a little bit easier and you're able to get a little more timing out of it, then we would assume you would make more. But yeah, unfortunately, our dyno is broken at the moment, so that is something that we're working on getting back up. I had a couple customers ask me today on our Yeti series. That's waiting on it. We've got, we need that dyno.
And then we'll go blow up Steve's car.
No.
Hey, your nice new car that you like?
Hey, can we have the keys real quick? Be right back.
Please.
We can blow up the other one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
blow the other one up.
Yeah, we'll work on that one. I'm a little nervous about it. I mean, it's the turbo does not look as restrictive as the Gen 1.
No,
so,
it doesn't.
So I'm a little nervous about it. But
It's still quite small.
yeah,
It's tiny.
it's still small. It's just not quite as small. Like, I don't think we're gonna get the big gains that we did with like the V3.
So on the
Yeah.
ones that you've remote tuned so far, how much headroom does it look like the injectors have?
Plenty. Like plenty. I've tuned full E85 ones. I mean,
Oh, okay.
But I mean, I haven't tuned any with bigger turbos on them. So that needs to happen sooner than later.
Mm-hmm.
But we've got 2 under our roof right now. So
How do I get a ZZP install in Atlanta, Georgia? Oh, you bring your car to Wyoming, Michigan.
Yep.
yeah,
Bring
We're
it to
only
us.
one location.
yeah. But I don't foresee us getting a second location anytime soon. Even though there's a lot of us that would love to bounce
Move
back
south.
and forth. A southern state, I would love to like work from Florida for a month or 2 a year.
That'd be
From
nice.
November to March. Every
Yeah,
year.
but you guys said it was bad enough being across the street, let alone being 8 states away. So I don't know if that would work with just the way we operate.
Yeah. You kind of have to have everybody in one place.
Yeah, that is nice. I mean, how many times are we finding each other in the building and bouncing
All
ideas
day
off
long.
each other? That is like I will say that there are so many customers that want to become employees and they're like, oh, I want to work from my state and be a ZZP employee, and that just doesn't work.
No.
Like our latest employee, new employee that'll be here in like a month. I mean, he really wanted to work remotely, and I'm like, man, that's just not going to work.
Yeah.
That
No.
just does not work at ZZP.
We
like
don't
there's
have,
so
like, there's no basic task that we just need accomplished. Like
Yeah.
it's a unit. Like we're a family and we're a group and we run into each other in the hallway and
even
talk
customer
for 10 minutes
service,
about whatever. Like,
something that in a lot of positions you could do remotely. I mean, Ryan and Ashley have to be here because they have to ask everybody else, when it's above them, whether it's a really in-depth engine or cam or timing question, then they go and find somebody else, and that means that customers get answers faster.
technically, they could do their jobs from home efficiently, but
Yeah.
it's not the
But
same.
no.
It is not the same.
and there's also like ZZP has I would say a way higher than average intelligence than other companies, and it's just in our different ways of thinking. Like we have a ton of creative minds here, a ton. Like you'll have me that is not an engineer. Al might understand how you manufacture this part that I'm dreaming of. And I'm like, well, I know what I want to happen, and this is my theory. And then I'll go to, like, let's say Al, and I'll be like, okay, this is what I'm dreaming up. And he'll be like, you can't machine it like that because you can't do this or that,
Yep.
but you could do it this way. And then it
That's
just requires...
exactly what I was saying, though, is like, just as you sit here, it was a perfect representation of you're like explaining with your hands. Like,
Yeah.
You're
do
not
that
going to
a
do
lot,
that
and
via email.
There has
or-
been many times where you come find me and start talking about something that you thought of it in a way that I hadn't yet, or a way that my brain just doesn't work that way, and then you can run into me. We throw the idea back and forth, and then have something we can work on. Whereas that process would be completely screwed up if it was email or phone or something like that.
I mean, I don't think any of us like talking on the phone.
No, I hate it.
But
I
like,
don't think anyone does anymore.
but nearly all of us love talking to each other on a daily basis.
Oh yeah.
So like, it just won't work remotely.
It is funny too, because if we have to call one another while we're at work, those conversations on the phone are, I mean, seconds. It's just as soon as you can get off the phone, you're gone.
Yeah.
But then you might stand at somebody's desk for 10 minutes talking about whatever you're thinking of.
First is you answer and you're like, "Why are you calling me?"
Yeah, what do you need?
What do you want?
Who died? Why are you stuck? Do you have your foot stuck in the train track? Like, what's happening?
They fell in the well?
Exactly.
Dylan, are you talking about really either HHR, the SS, or the base model? They're not very strong transmissions. And
The base answer is not enough.
yeah, so
What was the car rated at factory? 50 less than that is what it can hold.
yeah.
Yeah.
Seems like
I
it.
mean,
Pretty much.
In either the auto or the manual, F35 isn't great, 45 isn't great, so F40 swap it.
So I heard that the HHR got an F23 at some point.
Yeah, the base model ones.
Yeah, that has a 414 gear ratio.
Mm-hmm.
So you know,
You need yourself one of those for the base
model
model.
might need a. I was like, my third gear has this little bit of chunk to it, like just randomly it just kind of chunks going into it. So I'm like, I'm gonna need a tranny soon. I was like, if I go do this 445 swap, like I still have this third gear issue I have to deal with.
Yeah.
But then, the HHR has a 414, if I recall. Mine's like a 387 or something, I think. I'm like, that's a little
somewhere
better.
around there.
And the HHR kept the ultra high fifth gear too, which is nice.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that's good.
Because those babies, man, like
the
that
View
fifth
ones
gear
didn't.
ratio, woo! That's a tall gear.
And there's lots of HHRs at the yard, so. WaveTrack and Quafe LSD for my F40. They're the same style, right?
Yeah, they're like dang near $2,000.
Well, we
but
sell Quafe and we don't sell WaveTrack, so get a Quafe.
There you go.
Ta-da.
That's easy.
yeah. But so I need a better tranny for the base model because that's gonna be an issue. Because that thing is slow, like really, really slow.
It is so disappointing driving realistically any of my other cars and then getting back in the base model and I'm like,
Yeah.
this is it. Although I've been driving the ELR and I'm going to go back to the base model and be like, oh, okay, this is kind
so
of quick.
fast!
So I'm hanging the clover leaf in the base model, right, on the snow tires. I'm just like I'm playing with the gas, like the back one would start to come out, so I'd give it a little throttle. And then all of a sudden it would start to understeer, so I'd back off the throttle. And I'm just like playing with my foot on, just mashing through this clover leaf because it's raining yesterday and
Yep.
it's like 36 degrees, so the road's nice and slick.
Very
I'm
safe.
just mashing. I'm in like I'm in fourth gear at like 55 or 60, right? And it seems like the RPM is okay.
Uh-huh.
And then I'm coming up to traffic, and this guy must have saw me coming around the corner, so he like kind of punched it to merge onto the highway. And I'm just like, sweet, perfect timing. So I just mash the car when I finally get straight enough to like walk it out into the lane. And he pulled away from me still.
Yeah.
You could not be a gear too high in that thing ever.
Nope.
What was it, a minivan?
It was a truck.
Honda
It was
Odyssey.
a darn full-size, like, I don't know, LS Chevy truck. Like,
Ooh, Noah has a question for Tim. Any plans for the ATSV this year?
yeah, I have to run 9s in it, like, on the stock turbos, so that's my plan, for sure.
And refresh them, what did you do before?
Are you going to have a breakdown when we
back in
start pulling
2018?
parts out of it?
No, I mean, we'll have to tape some stuff off when we're pulling it out, but I want to see how far I can go in the same trim of my old car. The car ran 10.3 at 136, but my 60-foot was horrendous. It was like a 156, if I recall.
And that
Must
was
be
nearly
nice.
5 years ago at this point.
Yeah.
Which is wild to think about.
Which is
Was
still the fastest
156.
manual.
It is. It
Still
is.
the fastest manual. So this car has a new, and that was clutch limited. So I have a fancy clutch in it that I took to the track one single time at full weight when it was like 90-some degrees. And I ran like 10 sixes with, I think, 3 or 4 passes just because of how busy the event was. And every single pass was a bog, which is cool. It's a cool problem to have because, you know, that means that this clutch holds.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I've got to figure it out. I think we're gonna have to put a watt box on the car or something to like
build
try
some
to
boost.
to regulate RPM, like to keep the RPM at a consistent rate. Because before I just floored it and just dumped the clutch, and now I can't really do that anymore because the clutch doesn't slip at all, so it just bogs. So maybe build a little boost on the watt box / like, you know, launch it like $6,000 or $6,500. I'm assuming. Mm-hmm. But I want to try to do it the same with the same weight saving. So like pull the passenger seat, pull the rear seat, run the car low on fuel. Not really much else.
All the easy stuff that anybody can do.
Yeah,
nothing,
I am
nothing
not
wild.
I'm not
30 minutes of track prep.
I'm not Swiss cheesing my $50,000 car like these D-bags with these ATSVs do. So I want to get a 9 out of it with the stock turbos without like removing all of the interior, like every plastic component you see. And then we'll go from there. Maybe put the Zonas back on.
Yeah.
But I like once it runs 990 or faster on the stock turbos, then I'm going to be like, all right, Zona time. Let's put the Zonas back on and, you know, probably 15-inch wheels in the back and really go for
Big tire.
it. Because I've always had a dream since I was a kid to have a single-digit manual tranny car.
It is cool.
And this one is going to pull it. So with the Zonas, my goal would be hang front tires into second gear.
No, that'd be cool.
That needs to happen. No pop a wheelie. I don't want to pop a wheelie. I want to power wheelie into second gear.
Okay.
So I think the Zonas can do it.
Yeah.
You know,
we know they can make power.
Yeah, it already made 814 and spools faster than stock. So
that's wild too.
You know, put that back in there. I'll have to do the math on 10.3 at 600 wheel versus, you know, what would it run in theory at 800 wheels?
Right.
Yeah.
Yes, 2 credits for LSJ. Quick recap. I kind of laid out the Honey Badger plans the last podcast we did. Short version is this will be the last season that I push that car. There aren't going to be any wild changes. I just got to clean up some things from the end of last season that I still haven't got around to, and get it back on the dyno and shoot
Like
down.
make it able to give rides?
Nah, I'm not putting the passenger seat in it.
You
It's too much. It's too much.
There's even a seat right behind you over there.
You know, I thought about putting a seat in the middle of the back because one would fit there, and there's still a lot of cage around it.
And then
There
you
you
don't
go.
have to move anything.
Yeah.
Like a
Maybe. We'll see.
giant
We'll ratchet
coolant
strap
tank.
one in just to give Tim a ride.
We got some milk crates, right?
Oh, yeah.
Hey Tristan, did you get the valve cover off and confirm that? I'm so curious to hear what happened. Tristan Smith, he has a Gen 2 Sonic, and he thinks he dropped a lifter. He thinks he lost one. His car's always been kind of a weird one. It gets a lot of KR, and it's never really seemed to perform that great. And he put a V3 on it, and it didn't seem to fix it.
Oh.
Because I was hoping it was a back pressure issue, and then
Yeah.
all of a sudden he came to the conclusion that he's like missing half a valve flow in one cylinder.
Half a
so
hole.
I'm curious to see what happened there.
Chosen Child from a dig, Honey Badger versus Snowball would definitely be Honey Badger because it has an actual tire on it.
There's that.
Honey Badger versus ATSV on the street. I'm in.
Ooh.
Al's got a pretty fancy launch control too.
Yeah, that's
You
true.
can pick the start speed. I'll pick the stop speed.
Okay.
Oh, damn.
Well, with that F40 you got in there.
You know that my ATSV is geared forever.
You know what my car does in fourth?
My car is engineered to go 170.
My fourth gear will go 215.
But your tires won't stay on the
Your
ground.
car won't. Yeah,
Your car won't.
Your back
they
end.
will.
Your back end will pass the front end at 215.
Nah, it'll be fine. I'll hang the damn laundry on you.
There is not a road that. No, I'm not gonna. No, you're not gonna die on my watch. No. Like, I would go 170 in my car without a problem. I mean, I did it in Steve's car already, so.
Oh, yeah.
Which one? Which one?
Camaro?
I've never done anything close to that.
Yeah,
in
but
any,
though
I've gone 160 in a Cobalt and in an ATSV, and one of them I was laughing, the other one I was like, get me the F out of this.
Poo in your pants?
Yes.
Yeah, an ATSV, you're going 100 and you're just
That's second gear.
cruising.
Oh, wow. Tim read the brochure.
Oh.
The F40s are rated for more power than you're probably going to make. I haven't broken one yet. And all I run is stock Frankenstein parts.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, cool. Matt did the math. 940 at 800 wheel horsepower in my V, based on my old numbers.
That's fast.
Yeah, that's moving.
And that's
pretty
cool,
quick.
too, because my 60-foot was crappy on the 10.3. So, like, that, I don't know. It would probably be better.
I think we found the limit of the stock clutch there. My 1060 whatever and Tim's 1030 was exactly the same to the third decimal point on our stick shift cars, and then we both burned our clutch up like runs later.
Yeah.
Oh.
Like
yeah, I
1565 is
forgot
like
about that.
what they do.
Yeah. Yeah, you
I
run
think
your...
I got 3 or 4 runs in the 10s out of my clutch, and then it was just
Yep.
yells at you every time.
You get one really fast pass out of your clutch, and then it's done.
It's
Then it'll never do it again.
it's weird too because you guys don't use like the fancy launch control.
No.
It didn't work.
Yeah.
I made that mistake the whole first year I had that car when the ATSVs were just getting started. And I made the mistake of trying to use the fancy launch control, and then Tim went out and beat the crap out of my best time. And he's like, dude, just floor it and won 1,000 off the clutch. And did that and went like 1090 something my first try. I'm like, what the hell is this? I've been stuck at like 1120s for like a year. And then went 1090, 1069, I think, and then 1065 twice, and then my clutch was
Gone.
exit, stage left.
130 and a 3800 Firebird. See, he knows what danger is.
Did you guys see the Donut Media video where they jumped a Firebird into
No.
it? They wanted to jump a car over a football field length of buses. And
Okay.
so they were going to do it with a regular car, and then they were going to do it with a jet-powered car. And so they found 2 identical F-body Camaros with 3800s in them, and they rigged up like a fancy control system, and they just watching the end is funny.
So they like remote controlled
Yeah,
drive 'em?
yep.
Okay.
And the regular Camaro jumped like 3 buses, and then the jet-powered one actually went 7 buses. They took, I don't know if you've seen the video, but there's this guy, and he puts little jet engines on everything. He puts them on like a scooter and a go-kart, and that's just like what he does is he put jet engines on things. And you can buy these. They're about this big. And so they strapped 7 of them to the back of the...
Of course they did.
Yeah. And yeah, it's a pretty neat watch, but that just reminded me of the 3800 Firebird.
I'll have to look that up.
153 in an Ihon, slight downhill. It's
Yeah, I think my record, the fastest I've been is in Steve's Camaro. I think it was like 170, like 167 or 170, whatever the was it the 5 to 6 or the 6 to 7 shift?
6-7, I think. is
6
up there.
7 shift. Yeah.
yeah, that's
Mathematically, of course, I don't know.
that's
Got
moving because through the quarter it's in what 5th?
Something like that. I don't remember.
I know Mayo's Camaro is in 5th
Yeah.
through the traps, so 6-7 is woo.
That's up there.
I wonder 130 and a 3800 Firebird, like, was that on the 16-inch wheels they come with and like
Probably.
80 sidewall series tires they come with?
Just moving
bone
all
stock.
over the place.
Bone stock on 87, bro.
Oh my gosh. So scary back in the like early 90s and 80s when they loved their 70 series sidewall tires.
Oh, yeah.
Truck tires on your Camaro.
I mean, early W bodies, what 65 series tires
Yeah.
on those? Oof.
Yep.
You know, it just dawned on me the fastest. I think I'm the only person on this podcast that the fastest I've gone was on a closed course in a sanctioned race.
I don't know. I was never really big into
Well,
street racing
you know,
because all my
You too,
crap
probably
was
after
slow.
driving the Sonic.
Yeah, well, Sonic or Camaro on the road course.
Yeah.
But Yeah, like Sebastian said, topping out a Saturn S series at 116 feels like life or death.
Yeah, I topped out my 93 Cavalier at 117. There was a governor on it. Drove like 8 miles riding the governor. Just ding, 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 ding. Wow, that was one of the dumbest things I've probably ever done.
The certain S cars that were limited, I think it was the auto ones, were limited to like 108 or something like that. And of course, I was in my first car at 16 with like 3 buddies, and we're driving down the highway in Flint, and we're like, let's see if I can do it. It took like 3 miles to get up to 100.
Why do we do such dumb things?
I don't know.
Because it's
like
fun.
when you're
Yeah.
young, I mean, like, gosh, like,
It scares me about what the stuff my kids are gonna do.
like I look at what my kid does with his Cobalt. Like,
Yep.
he's got a Cobalt, which is way faster than anything I owned at his age. And, like, the dumb stuff that he does, and I'm like, oh, wow, yeah, I already did that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I had a Starion, Mitsubishi Starion.
Ooh, nice.
And I topped it out at 140 or 145 on snow tires
Wow.
when I was like 17 years old.
Impressive.
And I look at that now and I'm like, how did I not die?
Die, yeah.
Like, my BMW, I put snow tires on it and I hit 95 and I thought I was going to lose control. Like, I have no idea how I pulled that off.
It's where those 70 sidewalls come in.
Yeah.
Soak up everything.
Oh. Brad, you know, the car meets are tough. You know, we had a lot of fun with the W body meet here a couple of years ago, and then the Ecotech guys never show up to anything, so, you know.
The most likely meet-ish thing that I think we might try to do this year is actually organize and advertise and get a bunch of you guys to come support us at Streetcar Takeover this year.
That would be awesome. Or any, you know, if we go to Cletus or...
Yeah, just find an event that we're going to go to, and then just plan on trying to get a bunch of people together there. Because if you guys can prove to us that you're actually going to show up to things, it's not impossible that we'll do a big meet here again. But as of now, there's no plan on doing it because the customer base is... And I'm sure it just has to do with the way things have changed over time. Like, you know, you can talk to anyone any moment you want now. Whereas, like,
Yeah.
early 3800 days, you had to go to a meet to go hang out with your friends and hear about the newest stuff.
Yep.
But, you know, if we can see that that's there, you know, maybe we could be talked into doing it again.
It's weird, like, as the times change, but, like, the 3800 guys will still get together in just massive crowds.
Well, yeah, because they're all 50 years old
Yeah,
now.
I
That's where they all came,
Yeah.
they all
love
came from
car
old
meets.
internet where there wasn't videos, there
I-
wasn't YouTube, or, you know, like, you
It's-
just
well,
chatted
when
and
you're
showed
50,
up.
you can actually afford to take vacation time.
Also
and
that.
stuff.
too.
Like,
Also that.
You're not wrong.
I think the younger generations don't seem to hold jobs as long as the older
yeah.
ones, and then that kind of has an
Yeah.
effect on their vacation time.
Yeah.
So
However,
Makes sense.
The
when
average
I-
young generation
When I was a
has
really
none.
young car guy, I went to events every weekend. Huge
Oh,
car shows.
I was-
Like, that was
I was all over the place.
you too. I mean, that's how we started
Yep.
with the Grand Prix and stuff. We always went to every race event and every weekend get together. And
Do you guys remember Exceed Speed?
Yeah.
Yeah, the Michigan Car Forum. I went to a bunch of the barbecues over on the east side. Met a bunch of cool dudes.
Yeah. That was a good one.
That was
really
a
like
pretty
that.
solid, like, multi... I don't want to say generational, but all sorts of different platforms and everybody.
Yeah.
You know, there's Civic people and VW people, and for the most part, got along pretty good.
Yeah.
But yeah, car meets unfortunately kind of died.
Adam Project, earlier you asked a question that I was going to answer and I forgot, and I have no idea what it was.
Whoop.
If it was something important, ask again.
he'll just say yes. And
Yeah, probably.
Just smile and say yes.
Was it the 100-shot comment? Because that's going to be a yes.
I didn't see that, but that's a yes.
It's when we were talking about the LE2. 100-shot straight out of the hole.
Oh, max power, 576.
Yep. Almost a 6.
That's the max recorded power. It made more than that.
Oh, it made a considerable amount more than
Like
that.
4 pounds of boost more than that.
Yeah. That car's dumb, but it's fun.
What was the highest trap speed last year?
Oh man,
You matched my ATSV, I think.
I think so.
134?
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the highest, our best ET was a little lower than that. I'm gonna
I
find
wonder
it real
how
quick.
fast we can go.
150.
Sounds good. We're gonna need different trans for that.
Yeah. Yeah. So it was 10.9 at 132, and I think we hit a 134, 135 earlier that day,
Yeah.
which is moving.
That is absolutely moving in that little car.
Well, stock they do what 78 through the quarter, I think. So
Yeah,
almost
right.
almost double.
Yeah.
That's not too bad.
So I've had a number in my head for a while, but what do you guys think we'll get it down to this season?
I think with what we're planning for the boost control, 10.5.
That's where I'm at.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say 10.6, so.
I think we can break a 10.5.
That'd be cool. That'd be really cool.
I think we're gonna drop probably 2 or 3 tenths the first full clean pass you do, which will be like 6 events in because you're gonna blow 4 more transmissions.
You were already overspinning the Zona, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, we were on
Are
the
you
edge.
planning on swapping the turbo?
I have a few thoughts. One is just more nitrous.
Okay. Okay.
But then there are some other turbo options we have sitting on the shelf that I don't want to see go to waste. So I'm not going to put anything out there yet. But I have some ideas.
You're not stealing my truck turbo, are you?
Nah.
Okay.
Bigger. And
Bigger?
And more.
Bigger.
Biggers. Yeah.
He asked what was the best one for. Really, any of the first gen ones, because you're gonna put rods and pistons in it anyway. So.
Oh. Yeah. We don't know what the Gen 2 block or LE2 block is going to hold yet. I expect it to be a lot less, but who knows? It could surprise us.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, probably an 8 or a 6. Matt's right. See, that's why we can't have split buildings. We have all these inside jokes.
On the Cruise, is the placement of the e-brake going to be mod 2 hand? Ridiculous. Rephrase your question. Not sure what you're asking.
I wish Zim was listening in on this so I could say an 8 or a 6 is impossible.
We would for sure need a standalone for 8s.
Tyler,
if
I
he
think
was in the
that car's got
building-
a floor. I believe there's a floor e-brake on that car.
Oh,
He's
like-
asking for a handbrake conversion. I think.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Just do a hydro.
I would like an extension handle for my e-brake button on my ATSV. It'll just stick on the button and just make a pull. No? Sorry.
You're gonna
That's not how those work.
You're going to go drifting now?
Drift in your $50,000 car?
Drift. You know what? No, I don't want a lever on my button. I want like a momentary switch e-brake button, so I can just like
Just lock on
push the button and it
That
just
would
locks
actually
the
be pretty
e-brake.
cool.
That would be cool. Just put a line lock on it. No big deal.
Yeah.
Drill some holes into a Saturn 1.9 i8 and run nitrous and fuel to it. I don't know.
Now we're only moving forward right now. We need to make Steve's car run like 12s, and then 11s,
Easy there.
and then 11s.
Awfully
they-
ambitious.
What did they run stock? Let's see. Was it any quicker
Yeah,
than
I
the
don't-
first gens?
That would be cool to actually
Hold my
see,
breath.
see those into like 12s in daily driver status.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That would be really cool.
It's not out of the realm of possibility.
Not really.
Man, remember that day when I was like, hey Steve, this LTZ Sonic sure would be fun if it made like 250 wheel horsepower.
Was that when we were trying to kill ourselves in the tunnel in Chicago?
Theoretically.
In this 100% stock Sonic, and we were going like 95, and both of us were white knuckle in it.
Floored for
God.
like 3 miles straight in
I
this
can't
tunnel,
imagine.
trying to keep
Stock.
up with Ryan Derrick and his like 500 horsepower Cobalt.
At the time, yeah. Stock tires, stock suspension. Oh my
I
gosh.
think we just got the car and we just took it down because we had to get to Chicago for the weekend, and we're like, oh, let's take the Sonic down. And then we get stuck with all these guys that are going out street racing, and we're following them in this like
Wait for me,
100
guys.
horsepower car. Exactly.
2018 Chevy Cruze quarter mile is 16.4 at 87.
That is faster than my 2.5 ATS went with mods.
Really?
That went, I think,
I believe it.
16.9, with flex fuel, exhaust, and intake.
That's bad.
I brought in the time slip after that, and I was like, "Hey Zoom, look how fast my ATS went." He said, "Sell it," and he wasn't kidding.
And then we did.
And then we did immediately.
Yeah.
Oh, 17 seconds. My base model's faster than that.
I'm surprised it went 87.
I don't
Yeah,
know. Are
got real good top
Are you
end, bro.
sure our
Yeah.
base models can run that? Like,
I would think.
we do have to race one of these
We
days.
do.
We definitely have to
I'll
race.
play chase car in the cruise.
Don't run us over.
Yeah, no kidding.
Oh, you guys, is the ST4 and turbo too much for a street build for Firebird?
No.
What's too much?
The ST4s are pretty. I like that cam actually. It
Okay.
doesn't idle as aggressively as the ST5. It's
About one less.
yeah.
Coming
One
from
yes, exactly. One less than the ST5.
One less chop.
coming from the tuner of the 3800s. Okay, an ST4. That you know what, the ST4 is fairly good.
Yeah.
You can keep a narrow band with the ST4. So yeah, that would be a good daily driver.
I used
An
to always recommend the
ST5.
ST4. The ST5 just has way too much
Yeah.
overlap, and it just
Yeah.
it's too
The
much.
ST5, you pretty much have to disconnect the O2 sensor and like
Oh,
open
really?
loop tune it. And yeah, unless you put like maybe a wideband that has a narrow band output and then tie that into the signal wire maybe, but
Old school style.
yeah.
Yeah, Matt says ST4 idles better than ST2.
Yeah, that's what Bo's putting in his Regal ST2 because it's the coolest sounding cam. so-
Oh, okay.
I thought
That'd be
NIC was.
Well, turbo.
for turbo.
cam.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think you'd want to turbo an NIC cam.
Probably
Every
not.
cam's a turbo cam, Tim.
Yeah, that's right.
Not an NIC. They don't like that overlap.
It'll be fine.
Probably a bit much.
Was there an obvious reason my high mileage LNF falls on its face every shift? What?
Scan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get
HP
some sort of data.
tuners.
Yeah, borrow or buy HP tuners and send us a log.
Yeah, and we've beaten this dead horse many times, but HP tuners is probably the best investment you can make on any mod car. $400, you're good to go. You can diagnose stuff, you can clear codes, you can tune. I mean, all sorts of stuff.
The cool part with an HP tuner, they're opening up to a lot more platforms now, so you can keep it for your next car.
That too.
Or, I mean, even GM is kind of their big deal, and most people are tend to be brand loyalists. So,
For the most part, yeah.
absolutely, an HP tuner is a good investment. I mean, it's going to work on your car, your mom's car, your girlfriend's car,
And
your next car. Like,
if you
buy
want to
one.
be that guy, you can be the, oh yeah, just bring it over, I'll scan it real quick, and then
Yeah.
you can look like you're the savior
You
of
look
the day.
like you know what you're doing.
Yeah, I do that all the time.
Yeah. All you have to do is have a general understanding of scanning and know what to look for.
See, Tim, Matt says the ST2 is similar LSA to an NIC.
Whew. All right. Well, Bo might have a project then.
Oh, he's going to.
Let's turn the idle up a little bit. It'll be fine.
Yeah.
Good
Yeah.
thing
Then
he
it
said-
doesn't sound good.
No, you gotta keep it as low as possible so you get that
He has
chop.
a different converter in that, right?
Bo?
Yeah.
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 He's got like a 3000 stall with the 292 gears. So
Oh, okay.
it'll work good.
Until it doesn't.
Well, I only thought of that
Until 1465.
until I go pinion in it. I saw a, I don't know, Instagram reel or something of a dude in a stock converter vet with a nasty cam sitting at a stoplight. And just going, just has to pop it into neutral. That's immediately what I
My
pictured Bo's
Camaro,
car.
when we first
Yeah.
put the cam in.
Oh that was rough.
Like, I couldn't breathe. I was laughing so hard the first time I took the car out and just jerking so bad.
Yeah. Or putting a big cam in a truck.
Yeah.
Trucks have like such a tight converter for towing.
Oh, yeah.
They're
Oh, that makes sense.
yeah. It's rough. Because every truck guy wants to put a cam in it, but they refuse to put a freaking converter in it. Like, I'm
No, so
sorry.
they're just dogs on the bottom end.
They're hand in hand.
Yeah.
You have a truck with these tall gears. I mean, you shift the thing at like $6,000 and it still drops to like 3,800 RPM because
Yeah.
your tight converter and your tall gears. Like, if you put a cam in your truck, you have to put a converter in it.
or
Like,
you're going to be
absolutely.
sad.
Yeah, unless you're not going to be any faster than a stock truck, really. You just get take off, and the stock truck's gonna like
Leave
be
ya.
2 cars ahead,
Yep.
like, instantly. Oh man,
How stall works? Well, stall isn't really a thing. It's just describing the RPM where the converter can no longer or will no longer allow the engine to rev any higher. It's the kind of the limit of the speed difference between your crankshaft and your input shaft of the transmission.
I kind of like to look at it like 2 fan blades. You got one fan that's being spun by an electric motor, and then you just take a second fan blade and just like push it up against that fan blade. What happens? It starts to spin. And if you spin that fan faster, then if in theory you're revving your engine faster, then that second fan moves even faster. Well, imagine that at many multiple times the speed. That's kind of how a torque converter works.
Yeah, and then adjusting your stall speed would just be adjusting how efficiently those 2 fan blades are working with each other.
Yep. I mean, that is such a simple way of talking about it.
That is a lot simpler.
But,
way to explain
It is just fans in there, kind of.
Yeah. I
I
mean,
mean, fancy fans, but...
yeah, they are fancy, and there's a lot of engineering involved in them.
Yeah, when we were working on the converters for the 1.4, I had never known anything about torque converters, and I spent like 2 days just looking through stuff, and I still only have a basis.
No, you just
understanding.
know parts and names now.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's the same way
Now I know
I
there's
am.
a stator and a bunch of other stuff.
Fluid goes in, magic happens, tires spin.
Somewhere there's a sprag, but then I've seen some that are spragless. I'm like, okay, that,
All
apparently
right.
that's not necessary.
Martin, a remote tune on any car is absolutely the best way to go. We can see how your car is performing, how your fuel is, how you drive. But I will say Matt's LNF PCM 1.0 files are flawless. They're great.
See, yep, the LNF tunes are great because they're a closed loop car.
Yeah.
You know, they have a desired air fuel ratio at full throttle, and they actually look at it and achieve it with trims. Pretty much no other cars besides like late model ATS 2 liters have that, including the ATSV, amazing engine, and they did not go
They
closed
just
loop at full throttle.
Stuck narrow bands in it.
They did it on the 2-liter ATS 16 plus, but not on the frickin' ATSV. But anyway, what's cool about remote tunes, like we have tunes that will work for, I don't know, let's say nine cars out of 10. So you'll be like, hey, I've got this LSJ that I bought your stage 3 kit, and I put it all on, and I need a tune, whatever. We send you a PCM, and it'll work for 9 cars out of 10. But what if you're that 1 out of 10?
Yeah.
That's why remote tunes are amazing, because if you're that 1 out of 10, we'll be able to tell you, like in this case, like, Tyler or Al will be like, you have a problem with this, fix this. And then you fix that, and then boom, now it works. But I've seen stuff like, I think LSJs are the only one, but I've seen them like the maths just read like 30% different than every other one.
Well, that we just had a customer's car leave, and he had a 171 code. It was on a 1.0 flash that we've put out many, many times, and like you said, works 9 times out of 10. He had a 171 code. We diagnosed the car, could not find a single leak, and so we just tweaked it in, and it was good to go. So,
Yeah.
Whether it's a combination of different things, of age, of miles, of, who knows, but
Yep.
remote tuning is definitely the better option.
Yeah, the older your car is too, the farther it's going to be worn and varied from stock.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you may have an issue that you don't even know is there, and it may not even be an issue when you're at a stock power level. But when you turn things up, it's really nice to have HP tuners, and you may have a fuel flow limitation that isn't a problem for a stock car. You could drive it another 100,000 and not have an issue, but then you turn it up, and now you don't have enough fuel. I mean, that's something that I see on LSJs, especially as they've
And
gotten older.
Oh, yeah,
3,800 cars.
Because the PCMs, most of them don't see the fuel pressure. So if your fuel pump is starting to go bad, or if your fuel filter's clogged up, your car's gonna run lean at full throttle, and
Yeah.
that's not the tune's fault. That's a lack of maintenance fault.
And what's cool is like a scan will see that. Let's
Yeah,
say
we'll see that immediately.
let's say you punch it and your O2 just drops to like double digits, and you're like, oh, well, you look at the scan, the math looks right, the injector
Duty cycle looks
the
right, yeah.
injector duty cycle all looks right. Like we've seen hundreds, if well, actually like thousands. in tens of thousands when it comes to the 3800.
Yeah.
So like we know what these numbers should be. We know where this math should be roughly if you're running a whatever 3/4 pulley and blah blah blah. We know what your injector duty cycle
Right,
should
we
be.
can look at it and be like, the PCM is trying to give you
Yes.
the right amount of fuel. It's
but there's
not
just
getting
no
there.
fuel there.
Yeah.
And then we'll be like, hey, put a mechanical fuel pressure gauge on it, and then you'll do that, and then you'll be like, oh yeah, it's
20
it's
psi at what?
yeah, it's 45 when I'm driving around, but when I punch it, it goes to 60 and then drops to 20. You know, and then you're like, oh well, there's your problem.
Yep.
You know, and remote tuning allows us to see that because I couldn't even imagine like trying to make a car go fast. Like I look back at my young kid life of modding cars, and I'm just like, man, like I did this without HP tuners.
Oh
Like,
yeah, chip tunes.
How the hell did I
and-
do this?
Oh yeah, all that
Chip
stuff.
tunes, literally. Like I
Yeah.
am that old.
Yeah.
Like I have socketed ECMs and gotten different EEPROM chips for them.
Not a fan of Royal Purple, but I haven't had any bad experiences.
Yeah.
Remote dyno tunes, I wanted to grab that real quick that JPL asked, because it's a question that I get fairly often. It's not something that's practical to actually do.
No.
The way the remote tuning process works, and the reason we do it is because it's convenient for both us and the customer. You know, we can send you a file, you flash it when you have time, you go get a log when you have time to, and you send it back to us, and then we send you an update in a reasonable amount of time. We don't set off chunks of time to lock into a single car on a dyno remote somewhere else in the country. That would, even if we were to do something like that, we would have to charge such an insane amount of money that no one would want to do it, because it's not just the time that we have to spend on that car, it's the time it takes us away from all the other things that we could be multitasking on.
And-
how many,
and to add to Al real
remote
quick.
tunes do you think you're doing at any given time? Like when you get here in the morning, you're send dozens out in the morning of
Yeah,
Rev
usually.
ones, and then waiting for
And Tim
dozens of
has
people
more
to
than
reply.
that.
And
To add to what Al was saying about remote dyno tuning, I honestly, I think I'm gonna get beat up here, but I don't like dynos for tuning. I just don't. I don't think they simulate near enough of what the car really does on the street. You can have the dyno simulate load. You cannot have the dyno simulate
Airflow.
100 miles an hour of air flowing across the front of your car.
Yeah, that's true.
And no matter how well you think it's loading properly, cars still shift different on the dyno. Like you,
Especially with the newer torque-based stuff.
yeah, you can, like, I hate tuning high horsepower ATSVs on the dyno. Between spinning the tires and the dyno just not loading the car right, like, you can't do that when the ECM is looking for a torque value. So, like, what I do, JPL, is I do like 90% of my tuning on the street, and then I just go to the dyno to like wrap it up. You know, like for, let's say, a horsepower figure, or if you're doing something like cam timing. Like if you're playing with cam timing, you're not going to do that on the street.
Well, no.
You know, to determine the optimal timing for the, ignition timing, like obviously you have to do that on the dyno. But yeah, 90% of tuning is done on the street, and then you just like wrap it up with a couple pulls. Like, what power do I make? And then every freaking dyno is way different from the next.
Yeah.
So you could make 500 wheel on one dyno and 400 wheel on another.
Easily.
And then you can go to frickin' Ohio and to what Dyno Tune Motorsports, and your 500 wheel horsepower car will make 600.
Yeah.
Like, some dynos are just really stupid happy.
Yep.
So yeah, I prefer street tuning far.
Oh, wow, we're 5 after already.
Yep. I gotta meet the parents, so not meet the parents, meet my parents at my house. So I gotta split. What are you guys doing this weekend?
painting.
That sucks.
Yeah.
Can't wait.
I don't have any big plans, actually.
Cool.
You want to come over and paint?
No.
Oh, no, damn it.
I think that's even worse than moving.
Yeah.
I got
It
nothing
is.
exciting.
All right.
Well, you can come over and paint.
I'm busy.
All right.
Wife just texted me. We're booked.
Oh, okay.
With that, we're out. We'll catch you guys
Bye.
next
Have a
week.
good weekend, guys.
Yep. Have a
Bye.
good weekend.